people who pressed on with that American creed. Yes, we can.
Yes, together, we will make America better.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the next episode of Unintelligent Intellectuals.
I need to stop drinking.
My AA meeting says that too, but I decide.
I got those new beer Stein glasses, not the Steins, the restaurant glasses.
Oh, okay.
The ones that they're slim and then they balloon out and they're tall. So
yeah.
I got one of those.
Oh, a tall?
I ended up drinking like I was at a bar, just watching Netflix.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That sounds like a good way to spend some time off. Hell yeah.
Well, not when you black out at 3 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the markers of you're getting older. Because I'm before all right, I got getting a little tipsy. All right.
Well, no, I had 2 or something like that, and then I turned on Fight Club and I got rambunctious and I
started fighting yourself.
I became Tyler Durden.
Everyone just in the circle looking at you.
As I kick my own ass.
This guy's the truth. We don't talk about Fight Club. All right, man.
I'm watching this movie, going, I need to write a book.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's deep, man. That really messed with my mind. I was like Inception before Inception. I was like, what?
I can never pronounce that author's name. Konalalchuk or Kalchuk.
Oh, who's this?
He's the guy who wrote Fight Club.
Oh,
he's an author.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. Cause that seems like
there's
deep motifs in that movie.
It's a series. There's 3 or 4 books of Fight Club.
I'm curious. Did the first book, the movie, only cover the first book, or was it kind of like a mashup of all?
I think it only covered the first one.
That's interesting. Huh. Damn, something to dive into, man. Did you see what happened at the whole Astroworld thing?
Oh, where people died?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know concerts.
Yeah, I almost didn't even want to mention it. I was just like, I don't know enough about this. And, a bunch of notes down.
I mean, the crowd just went wild and,
Yeah, well, it's like
people died.
Apparently, it's something that's normal at his concerts, where it's he would encourage people to rush the stage, and
he says he'll message it on Instagram and shit.
Get people hyped and excited and whatnot. Which I get, because that's where a lot of artists make their money, because it's you're not.
It's rush the gates.
Yeah.
It's so there's more people in there than what they're able to
hold at very full capacity. Yeah.
So that people who don't have tickets can then get in.
Yeah. So and so in hindsight, it's after everything happened, we're all everyone's all upset, and I feel like oh my God, it's like that. But the only reason why I felt the need to mention it is because of the whole it just kind of, that story showcased the whole the power of anger and social media, where it's people aren't. If it was just it
wasn't that big, it'll be gone in a day or 2.
Yeah,
it's already gone.
You're I'm really kind of outraged, but yeah. All right. Anyways, but it's but if no one died, then it's you wouldn't be upset with those same actions.
Well, something like this happened in a soccer game in the 90s. And dozens of people died.
Soccer's a different. It's
because of people.
Yeah. People get crazy. When they're hyped up,
People were getting suffocated because there was too many people in the place. It wasn't hype.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't hype. It was just I can't breathe. There's too many people here. How do we get out? And then people started scaling the fences to go onto the soccer field. And then they were putting dead bodies over the fences because people. Yeah. It was not it got wild. No, it was people were crying and screaming because they were dying.
Yeah. Holy shit! Yeah.
There's a documentary on it that the 30 for 30. I forget what it's called.
I've seen people get real hyped over. I'm Dominican, so when we.
I don't even think the game had started.
I believe it, man. Like people get really hyped for soccer, and like
There was just too many people in the stadium, and it wasn't built for that. And then because they were all funneling in, there was like only like one way to actually enter the stadium because it was one of those smaller.
venues, yeah.
It was in England, so it was one of those smaller town like
Yeah.
few thousand seats, but there's only one entrance point.
Okay.
So then it became a funnel. So then they had to funnel out, but it was sold out, and then they had more people coming in. So then it became this thing where you have like a few hundred people that are up front,
Yeah.
and then more people are coming in, and then they don't know that it's too packed.
Yeah.
But they're still allowing people to come in, and then the gate got opened up, and then more people were coming in from another side. So then it just became this funnel point. Yeah. So like it wasn't
Holy
excitement.
shit.
It was just like very quickly people were like, I can't breathe. Like wait.
Wow. Yeah. Like wait, yeah. Damn, man. That's dark, man. But I was just but like I'm just like people like I guess people getting excited over just like little things or I guess in this instance just trying to be there. Like I don't know, people get really hyped up and willing to act less than human when shit goes their way. I mean, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, not to pick on Philadelphia, but you know the less in New York, those guys were like acting all kind of crazy. And then like I've seen like in soccer, you know, I'm from DR, but I mean my mom's from DR, and soccer's not a big thing there, but it's like we watch the Spanish network and whatnot, and like Salvador Gigante and whatever. I don't remember the name of the channel. I'm pretending like I'm more Hispanic than I actually am. But I remember like when someone scored a goal, like they would go crazy. It would be like everyone would be like goal. Like it's like everyone's like losing their mind and I know I've seen some scenes like in Russia when like after some soccer matches they'll be like driving in cars and lighting like fireworks into other cars just off the side of the passenger's window. They're just like like you know people are crazy when they're you know people are excited or hyped for what will happen. It's just like oh yeah we're capable of a whole lot of shit. So so yeah I'm not terribly upset at that or surprised that you know people on emotions are running high that
Well, I'm not gonna cry over spilled
yeah yeah fuck those people that's like no I think the reason why a lot of people are upset were because like a lot of those people were children. I think there was like a 14-year-old or something like that, and you know just going to a concert, see somebody they listen to, and then they end up losing their life. So you know that kind of strikes home. But people, instead of being honest about that and like, oh, I'm upset at the result of what happened, the people pretending to hold Travis Scott responsible, pretending to, oh, well, he didn't pay security enough and he didn't follow the right protocols and whatnot. Because I guarantee you, like you said, this is going to pass. After this, they're not going to go out to other venues and ensure like, oh, were these protocols followed? Were they rushing the stage or the fences? Were they overcrowded? Were security?
It's only because people died.
Yeah, the results. So it's like, you know, just because, you know, the correlation causation thing. It's like just because two things exist at the same time doesn't mean that one thing happened because of the other. But like we're pretending that that's what it is, and people are pretending that they care enough about it to follow up. But for real, then random statistic, I think 90% of people who are outraged and talking all that shit about it don't care enough to do any kind of follow up to future or other concert venues. So it's just like it's just a typical like you know I'm angry that this happened result wise, but
That's what everything is.
which is frustrating.
It's like no matter what the topic, it always ends up being just I'm gonna be angry for right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at the puppy.
Yeah. It was like I want my pound of flesh. I want Travis Scott's head. You know, and I was like, you know, if it happens some other concert, and I'm like, okay. Anyone die? Oh no, they must have followed proper protocol. It's like, well, just because the results came out the right way doesn't mean that they didn't follow everything possible. And just because shit hits the fan doesn't mean that you know everything wasn't followed. So it's just like you know people pick and choose whenever they want to enforce the rules. And yeah, it's unfortunate that that's with everything, man. It kind of makes you know it's really poopy people.
Poopy.
But I've been diving a little bit more into this the postmodern philosophy, and I'm trying to understand things. beyond what I know right now, and it's like it's starting to. It's a little bit more revealing on that front when it comes to like trying to understand why people are just upset with whatever with certain results as opposed to the process in order to get from A to B. And so I was, and then I started looking at over the old notes from the last thing that we're doing for what were we talking about? We were talking about Wonder Woman and like and the whole the polyamorous relationships and Dyson. So I'm just like, all right, I'm thinking about diving into that. But is there anything else that happened? I wasn't really paying. I was so focused on this, I wasn't really paying attention to anything else that was going on.
Oh, this week?
Yeah.
Fuck me, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good. I was blinded. I had my blinders on. But yeah, but I was following this. So like for the postmodern approach, it's like
What
all right.
happened this week?
I don't know. Like I mean, nothing I really want to dive into. There's like I mean, there's the infrastructure bill, and those 13 Republicans that voted for it, and everyone's angry at them.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. It's just
So I can't get mad one way or the other.
yeah, and people have their opinions one way or another. They think it's right or wrong, but this kind of touches on that thing in a more direct way that there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about versus the one to just sit here and slam politicians for being politician-y. But like the way so postmodern is like this whole like fighting against the modernism and like instead of like things won't just infinitely get better forever and ever as we just talk to each other and find out objective truths and build off of that. It's more so like it's more subjective where it's like it's dependent on where you're coming from and the background that that you have, and that has a large input in how you see the world. One person's terrorist, another person's freedom fighter. I think I said that at one point, and other people have said it too. I'm just echoing what was said. But all that being said, so like okay, so I'm diving into postmodern in order to understand CRT and this modern movement a little bit more, and like so if everything's subjective, it's like if you feel like this is what it is, then this is your truth, and I guess that's where that concept of this is your truth all came from. So I was like, oh shit, I never realized. It has this. It does have this relation to.
I didn't know that's where that might have
originated from. At least from as I understand it. I mean, this is only a couple days worth of research in between. Weeks worth of working kids. So it's like,
so you're practically an expert.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what I meant to say, foremost expert on everything postmodern, CRT, and trans.
I don't like CRT.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
It sounds like TRT. I always get confused. I was like, they're getting replacement therapy.
Oh no bueno. But but like I'm trying to put my self in the other shoes, like be a little more empathetic, and especially since I grew up liberal, so I think I have a wide capacity to understand different perspectives. And I was like, okay, I see this. So yeah, so when it comes to the Wonder Woman thing, when I was looking into it, I was like, I wonder how they presented it. And so like the whole Fountain of Rebirth thing is like you said,
Wells of Souls.
Yeah, the Wells of Souls. I'm making up my own.
Rebirth.
Hey, I'm the expert here. Who dare correct my wrongness? But yeah, the Fountain of Youth. Anyways, as I was saying, but they come back and they lose their memory of.
It's a burly fella.
Got the picture of him. We're just like, I wonder what Bia looks. Oh no. Yes, no, don't judge. I'm judging. Okay. But the whole thing is like after like they die at the hands of the violence of man or in a violent man world, something related to that. Then they're reborn but they lose all their memories, so they have no idea about their former lives, and they're reborn into this Amazonian paradise, and they introduce themselves, and then it just progresses from there. And so the character that everyone's talking about, the way that she's introduced, of course, she doesn't have any memories, so she doesn't know, and you don't know as the reader. So and you look at her, it's like, oh, it's a female. So it's like, all right, you don't think, and of course it's a female because, of course, women who died by the hands of man. Like, all right, all these things fit, and her introduction, I haven't read the thing, but the comic. But I saw this little clip that says like this is how she's introduced, and there's like a little part where they each introduce themselves to the greater Amazonian empire, and she says she's like the way she introduces herself is right here. She talks about I don't know I can't read. I don't know how to explain it yet, but this exact moment feels like my soul has desired it long before I came here. And she has tears in her eyes, and she's like, I am Bia, and they're like, oh yeah. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, cool. So I was trying to figure out like how do people get that or whatever else the context of the greater story is, and related it to transgenderism. Yeah, I didn't really find anything else like, but if you did believe that she's transgender, then you would like the statement that she makes in context makes a lot of like relates to you, reverberates with you. It's like, all right, I'd get that, and it's like like and one of the people who wrote it says like answering the question in a tweet thread, she said, oh Steph, she says oh if you read Nubia and the Amazons #1, the answer to your burning question is yes. There are trans Amazons. One of the newest Amazons is a black trans woman. And then along with everything else, it's like, okay, so they're kind of like inputting into the story, but the way that they introduced the character was kind of in a subtle way. So I was like, all right, cool. But then she felt the need to say like, oh, she's trans. But like I find it hard to understand how that fits into the story if they don't have any memories of their past. And I would imagine like even if they were to interact with their past, like if they were to leave this place and interact with their past, they wouldn't really know. So I mean, why is that important at all? So it's like it was hard for me to conceptualize. But after doing a little bit of more reading to the postmodernism, it's like, okay, I kind of get how this is like a nice fulfilling thing for trans women, because they're looking at this and they're just like, oh wow, now there's a major comic book or media outlet that's acknowledging that we are women because of Well Souls.
They're not even reading this. You spent all this thought for something.
I'm thinking, man.
They don't even care about.
I'm trying, man. Yeah, and that's what I think is it's interesting, because I don't know, but it seems like
that wasn't a burning question for the comic book world.
That's what.
When can we have a trans like that? Nobody cared.
Yeah, it seems like they're just trying to pander to that new wave in order to elicit more of attention or eyeballs towards their thing. So it's like, oh, that's cute. All right.
Yeah, but their sales are down so much, nobody buys them.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think like graphic novels are doing better than comic books now, and of course manga is blowing everybody out the water. So it's just it's not even a question.
Because they're not doing weird shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird shit in manga, but they're just
they're doing like standard storyline things. They're not trying to go crazy.
Yeah, they're not trying to pander towards any specific group of. It's just like, no, like everybody.
They're just doing their thing.
Yeah, it's individual art pieces, and like as it stands on its own, it's like there's a whole style and the way that you set up the panels, and then the way that it's written, and it's like, and the action sequences, and it's like, oh, it's intense. Like even like it's not like the art is profound. There's some amazing artists, but it's not like, oh, it's so like good. Like I'm gonna put this as a background picture, but it's not as gripping as that. But that's not the reason. It's just the storytelling element of manga just supersedes anything that's coming out of the comic book world. And so like I'm trying to like, but even with all that, like let's say like they're not pandering. Let's say they're doing it just for altruistic reasons, and they're really trying to panic because every transgender person reads DC Comics and is always.
I completely forgot it was DC Comics.
Yeah, yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah, so it's just but I mean, it's not just DC that's doing that though. I mean, there's a lot
It's all of them.
yeah, but even with all that, it's like okay, I could understand that. Like they're trying to like it's like a way for them to acknowledge it's like oh well the Well of Souls or Fountain of Rebirth youth think it's like oh it's a way of DC in and of itself acknowledging trans women as women. I'm like oh, okay, like I could see the fulfillment that some people might feel with that. So it's like all right, I get it. So then at that point it's like either you agree or disagree, and then it's like we could dish it out from there. And I was like, but and then I started thinking about like Louis C.K.'s little bit when he was talking about he was like, yeah, you know, abortion's not that bad. You know, it's just this is your choice, right? Like you could do what you want, or you're killing a baby. He's like, so it's like too extreme for it. It's like you know, if you think you're killing a baby, you know, it's kind of terrible. You know, nobody's advocating to like throw babies in plastic bags and down dumpsters, but you know, so
I forgot what was he using to correlate that?
I don't know. I just remember the whole part where he's talking about like, it's not that bad, right?
I did know. I think he was trying to talk about how people have different points of view. And he probably was saying about giving a rational response to somebody who's pro-choice, but then also giving it from the standpoint of like, if you think they're killing a baby,
yeah.
like you can't just dismiss them.
Right.
You're murdering babies, and then like, well, you're just an idiot.
Yeah, my choice. Yeah, man. So
I think that's what he was trying to say.
yeah, I think that's exactly what it was, man. But yeah, I thought that was funny, and I was thinking about like, all right, I guess I could just leave it at that. But then my mind started to wander a little bit. I was
That's
like,
dangerous.
yeah, I know. But you know,
Where did it wander to?
Thought. I started thinking, I was like, all right, so like, well, you know, like you know, one side would be like, oh, well, I feel like this is right, so that's the truth, and the other side would be like, oh, well, facts don't care about your feelings, and I was like, all right, so that's the whole, you know, baby versus choice debate, and I was like, all right, cool, I get it. No, not cool, but it's just okay. Like, there's nothing further than there. But then I started thinking about people who got blasted for being transphobic, and I'm thinking about Dave Chappelle, J.K. Rowling. And I'm just like, all right, let's
Mr. Joe Rogan.
yeah. let's see where this goes. Like, I wonder how it looks from their perspective, and it's like, oh yeah, so from their perspective. Well, I knew Dave's perspective, and we talked about it a little bit before, so I don't want to dive into that again. But J.K. Rowling, it's like I know she said something to the extent of
She just wants biological women to have the say of women's issues.
Yeah.
And that trans women aren't that and should have their own discussions about their own issues.
Yeah, and I didn't think that was that nuanced. I thought that was like, all right, that I follow. But it's like, you know, but since trans...
Well, and then also she's being a dick. But that's just because of how much pushback she's getting.
Yeah. But it's
she's like, I could be not nice, and now she's not being nice.
But she started getting shit for like saying
this has been happening.
Yeah.
This is happening like 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
When this started, or maybe even longer.
I saw something about
It's just anytime she says anything now, it's just a huge blow up, but it's only minor, so she leans into it and like comes out with a book with a transgender serial killer.
Oh my god. Oh, is that what she's doing? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's her latest book that she wrote.
Oh, that's funny.
I can't remember if it's a prostitute. Could be like a transgender prostitute serial killer.
Okay.
keep it traditional.
Jesus, magic. But I remember at some she was there. I remember she was asked at one point, like, "Oh, how come you don't have any transgenders in the Harry Potter series?" I was like, "Oh, well, there's no room for a transgender in that series," and like that became a big thing. I'm just like, "Oh, all right."
It would fit no purpose.
Yeah, like it's I don't understand.
Some random Harry, you have to go, and it's this dude
Yeah.
in a wig and fake tits, you'd
Yeah.
be like, all right.
I mean, what like he could have
why is
been like,
Harry interacting with trans people? Like,
what significance does it have to the story? And like, and when I think about that, like, and I'm looking over here, it's like, well, like this character doesn't have any significance to the story.
in
Like,
my entire life, it's like,
I don't think most, or I don't think every transgender person is against J.K. Rowling and Dave Chappelle. I mean, like it's, I think it's just like I think it's just a minority, and I think it's just a minority that's like upset about this.
I think most of them want to just be left alone.
Yeah, just like let me live my life and live my experience.
Or like, don't like bother me.
Yeah.
Like, let me be and just.
Yeah, I'm
let
trying
me
to
do what I
figure
need
out
to
my
do,
thing. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, this is kind of interesting. It's like, not that this character's inconsequential, but like to the story, her being transgender is inconsequential to the storyline. So it's like, it would have been better. Like, it just seems like they're trying to pander towards this, this hand, like even if it's for a benevolent reason, it's like.
It's just like what I was telling you about the Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Like
It's
John
a shame that
Leguizamo
there's
is
not
getting
more
upset
representation.
that there wasn't Latinos, and it's like, but they're fucking Italian.
Yeah. Italian plumbers that fight.
Because they have like brown skin and a what's that, a Romance language accent
Yeah, you just
that
think
we should just. Hey, come here, you're beaner. Why do you have this job?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're not a guinea, but you're close enough.
There's not enough Italian representation in novellas or something. It's just like, it's like,
I know.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous.
Well, because I don't know, maybe he's an idiot, and he thought that because he was in the movie that it was they were Mexicans or something like that.
Maybe he doesn't know about Mario. Maybe he's just like looking around. He's just like.
Well, maybe he just assumed like they have these these accents and they've got the mustache and they're plumbers. I guess they're just fucking Mexican.
Yeah, maybe he's the racist.
Because I thought everybody knew they were Italians.
Yeah.
Luigi, that's not Spanish.
Yeah.
It's...
I mean, in the 64 game, it's me, Mario. It's like, all right.
That's a racist character of Italians.
Yeah. Oh man. But I thought it was so. I mean, I think even if the most benevolent reasons trying to enter this person in here, it's like it's at the very least just a clever handout. It's not even.
Well,
baked
now
into
that
the story in
now
that nice
this
way.
is. I mean, it's practically gone. That story.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's how these things are.
Yeah. It's
they're
like,
around for a handful of days and then they're gone. You missed it.
But
just like I missed that crazy comic book thing that I was telling you about.
Oh yeah, the
snowflake
space
and it's
yeah.
magic school bus or whatever it is.
Oh
No, the magic backpack.
Yeah. Magic school bus is awesome, man. Oh God, don't loop that in there.
But yeah, like I didn't hear about that. That's like a year or 2 years old.
Yeah, I thought that was
and, like,
brand new. And
one of the most
whoa.
disliked videos that like they've ever put out. So I was like, how did I not catch this?
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
And I'm constantly catching like erroneous things that don't mean anything. Oh, did you hear about this? God, will you shut up?
Oh man. But then I started having a little fun with my thought process. So I was like, all right, well, let's say this is accepted. What if Bia still slinging that dick?
Shut the fuck.
What if she's still slinging it?
They brought her back to populate.
To populate. Well, like, what if she doesn't even like? What if she because she lost her memory?
I'm gonna bring you to Come Town.
What if she thinks this is what a woman's supposed to look like? Because she doesn't think anything of it. She's not taking public baths, and then
Why don't you have a dick?
And what if she falls in love with somebody, and it's like, and then they're just
starts
like,
railing him.
yeah,
Cum squirting out her nose.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I was like, oh man, like.
Oh man, I don't know why that made me gag.
It's the nose part. But like in that case, like I was like, oh, that would be kind of weird. Or like, what if she like falls in love with somebody and she's like, oh, you don't have a dick? Ew, I don't want you.
You're not a woman?
Yeah. You're not a woman. You don't have a dick.
It's a whole reversal. They have to re-educate her.
That would be funny, man. But you know what's crazier? What if and then I started applying it to real life. Thinking about real life. What if thinking about the opposite? Like not like oh if they have the surgery, but if well like even if they do,
What?
if the transgender male transitioning into a female or transitioned into a female, and now says that they're lesbian, like whether or not they have a like let's say they have a dick and they identify as a lesbian, and then they 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 get excluded from the lesbian community. Like, are they then gonna say that lesbians is that like you could argue that those lesbians who are like really pro women are TERFs? You know,
They would probably already be considered that, yes.
But that's crazy. It's like, oh, you don't want to sleep with me just because I have a dick? You're a TERF.
That's disgusting.
Or you don't want to sleep with me just because I used to have a dick. You're a TERF. It's like no, I just don't want that. Like that's not what I wanted. Like it's crazy that like they demand and it's not transgender in general. It's just the minority that's railing against everything in the public sphere, where it's like just trying to get attention on purpose or just naturally getting attention because of this anger mob mentality or the power that anger has at attracting eyeballs to social media. The angry people in the trans community that are arguing against TERFs and all this jazz. Like what level of hypocrisy are they comfortable with? Because it's like they're demanding that you accept them for who they are and how they identify.
That's how the
but then
whole
they
thing
deny
is.
you. They deny you for how you identify. Like I'm allowed to live my truth, but you're not allowed to live yours.
Well, no, because
Isn't that
the truths are colliding.
yeah? So like, why is your truth more important than my truth?
Well, no, because it's about victim. You already know this. It's a victim hierarchy.
Yeah, but like,
Meaning you're blacks, you're only a victim as long as you're in that state of blackness.
Is that
if then
how-
you start going after, if then you went to go critique a lesbian woman, you're now using your male privilege, and you're also going after somebody who is part of the LGBTQ community. So now you've lost the victimhood that you've achieved for being a black man because you're going after somebody that's higher up on that totem pole of victimhood.
Do they see it that way?
Yes.
Like,
Why do you think it's designed that
like,
way?
I'm trying to think like I know like that's what
The whole
what happened,
thing
but
is,
it's just
look
like,
at Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
He's a guy that literally, come here, fucking spook, and like spitting on him and shit. And then, and then he turns around and has some social commentary in an issue, and everyone's talking about he's showing off his male privilege and his whiteness and all of this stuff. But he grew up, low income,
yeah,
in a not so great area.
Oh, he was in Silver Spring. That's all right. But,
Well, he has
like,
a joke where he's like, I grew up, my parents did well enough so that I could
be the poorest person in a decent neighborhood.
No, he said so we could live around other poor white people.
Oh.
So they got out of black poverty and then just lived in white poverty.
Oh. Okay. I thought it was like, oh, we did well enough so I could be poor in a nice neighborhood.
I think he said that, poor in a nice neighborhood, but then I think
Maybe
he also said he like
yeah, I heard that one. I
he grew up around poor. My parents did well enough to grow up around poor white people.
But it's just but that it's contradictory. Like the philosophy is contradictory to the whole, to everything that they stand for. And
No,
like
but
if
that's the foundation of their philosophy.
But it contradicts.
No, because it's about punching up and punching down.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. They do have that hierarchy. Oh,
Yeah.
they really do look at it that way.
Because
Holy shit.
your blackness only.
Wait, but then what if you're if you're a man who transitioned to a woman, are you using your male privilege in order to redefine what it is to be
I mean,
lesbian?
you can. Okay. See,
Ooh.
the problem is that I'm not saying that their philosophy is like fundamentally sound. It can be used against itself, of course, but they're like that's like that's the guidelines, right?
Yeah.
So this whole postmodern thing is like the game that's being played,
Yeah.
but the guidelines are based off of a hierarchy.
So
Based off of your
redefined,
based off your victimhood. So
victimhood caste system.
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Ooh, jeez. All right, Trans, I'll leave you alone.
Did you hear they're trying to build a university in Austin?
No, what's this university for?
Have you heard of Barry Weiss?
No, I heard of Barry White.
Barry Weiss used to be a writer for the New York Times, and then she got pushed out because she refused to write the articles that they wanted her to write, or would refuse to edit them to fit the narrative that the paper wanted. She got fired for not wanting to like do journalism.
Yeah,
that's essentially why she got fired.
Terrible.
So she's been on Rogan a couple of times, and she's been around and all this other stuff. So people like her, the Weinstein brothers.
Okay.
Or is it pronounced differently?
I know.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's how I.
So they're the Weinstein.
Okay, I've heard of the Weinstein.
Eric Weinstein.
Yeah.
And Brett Weinstein.
Okay, I think I've heard Brett talk a couple times.
Maybe it is Weinstein. No, it's.
Yeah, I've heard Weinstein.
It's Weinstein. Yeah.
That's how I've heard it pronounced.
It's Eric and Brett Weinstein. They're brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Them like they're coming together to try and build this university where like the fundamental thing is like finding truth or something like that.
Okay.
But there's other like conservatives associated with it. I think Ben Shapiro might be a part of it as well.
Oh man.
It's basically the intellectual dark web from like the mid 2010s.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it.
Like Sam Harris. I don't think
Right.
he's a part of it, but
yeah, I recognize him as part like that group of that's kind of like pushing this this narrative of hey, let's talk about things as they are, and like just pointing out.
That's where they've been buried, and I haven't seen any Sam Harris content in like years.
Words mean words, and it's like, all right, like you said some things that like I disagree with this or that, but it's like, but I'm not a fan of like, hey, stop him from talking.
Who?
Harvey. I mean, not Harvey. I'm sorry.
Jesus
Sam.
Christ.
Sam Harris.
Not a complete fan.
Yeah.
Sam Harris.
Yeah. But it's like, but I could appreciate his thought. Like it's like
I would rather have him over anyone else.
No, I get it. Like I love talking to people who I disagree with. I mean, just talking about this stuff was like made me like, oh, let me look into CRT. Let me look into feminism. Let me look into postmodernism, and like try to digest this. And it's like I thought I had a solid understanding, like, oh, this is what it is. But then it's like, oh, I didn't know J.K. Rowling wrote these other books. It's like, oh, that's why they're upset.
So who the hell is this?
Oh, this is J.K. Rowling. Like,
no, Maya.
I don't know. Staying with Maya. I don't know. Okay. I'm curious to see. I don't think I'm connected to the internet, but yeah, but like all I seen is a couple of her tweets, and I heard the story about someone asking her, "How come there's not trans in your thing?" Yeah, I'm not connected.
Oh, that would make sense.
But yeah, I've seen tweets like this when she's like, "Oh, dress however you please, call yourself whatever
this
you
was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. So like I was trying to
Jesus Christ.
pull these up, and I was trying to figure out like, what's going on? Like, how come people are upset? And it's like, because this seems like a pretty tempered. Like, hey, sleep with any consenting adult that'll have you. Like, live your best life in peace and security. Like, hey, live your truth. But
you don't know what she said.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So be hesitant.
Yeah. So yeah, all I know is from these snapshots of what I know.
You move any closer, you're gonna get egg all over your face.
I guess.
I'll never forget hearing that for the first time.
Oh, gross.
The Frasier. Remember the song that he sings?
Which one?
Frasier, the TV show from the 90s.
Oh, with
Kelsey Grammer.
Nah, I haven't seen it.
You 100% have seen it.
Let me. Might even add a clip.
You at least know what it is.
Egg in your face. I can imagine.
He's got the brother who's like seems gay, and then he's got the old dad who always has a cane. He's a radio host in like Seattle.
Blanks.
How do you fucking know this Frasier?
I know. Frasier from Seinfeld.
No, what Frasier's from Seinfeld?
I thought it was
You're
Frasier.
talking about Kramer?
Oh, Kramer. Or like, I know Joe Frazier looked the boxer,
I
but I
was
don't
getting you for confusing Frasier and Seinfeld.
You said Frazier.
No, not commercial. Just. You could say Frasier TV show, but yeah.
All right, yeah.
I mean, that's Kelsey Grammer.
Oh.
You remember
I
that
know
show
him.
from the 90s?
I haven't seen the show, but I know him. I'll do some research.
Well, you killed it.
I'm sorry,
There's
bro.
just a song he sings.
Oh, man.
At the end, he says, "Scrambled eggs all over my face."
Oh, I thought
Or no, eggs all over my face.
I thought it was, because women are ovulating, and it's like, oh, if you get too close, like I'm riding J.K. Rowling's dick, or I thought you were trying to say something to that effect.
I was trying to say like they were gonna come in your eye or something like that.
Oh, I was thinking about.
That's what I think of when the eggs are on his face.
Oh.
Sorry, this is like a 10-minute explanation on
I failed you.
a cum joke.
I'm sorry, man. I let you down, Coach. But yeah, like I'm down to having conversations, people disagreement. Like that's all good. The solid dialogue and moving forward. Like I'm all for it. But the whole that hierarchy is just it's real problematic. Like it's not even like I'm trying to use it against them.
Well,
but
that's
it's just
why
like,
that's why it's thinning itself out.
yeah. Because it feels good. Like
And that's
to
why you're
be like,
seeing how like the changes and things. Like polls just came out and like Kamala Harris's approval ratings at 28%.
yeah,
She hasn't even been in the public eye for like
yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
How are you under 30% and you haven't been around to do something negative or positive?
Barely a year in, just like oh. Yeah. It's funny because I think like with the gubernatorial race in Virginia, with Youngkin, they were just like almost every district has like wildly swung to the of course temporarily to the Republican part. It's like people voted for Biden, voted for Youngkin, and people were just like, oh my God, how could this be? Da, da, da. And
They're not paying attention.
right, they just it's just kind of wild. Where just like they try to simplify everything into, they're trying to explain everything away with it's a race thing. It's like everyone's.
See, people are so dumb because they're getting all caught up with the whole Trump-isms and shit like that.
Yeah.
Elections are always about it's one or two things.
Mm.
Well, no, there's like the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid."
Yeah.
It's always the economy.
Especially this time.
It's always the economy. Every year, it's the economy. There's always going to be economic things that, like, if somebody doesn't like what you say economically, they're not going to like it. So that's always a focal point. Now, whether that's helping the poor, taxing more of the rich, or alleviating on capital gains taxes, whatever it may be, it's always something about the economy that people are going to be touching on.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's education. It's education, the economy, and then you look at international politics and like war and like military spending and
I see that.
what's going on with that. It's three main, like transgender bathrooms are not a thing. Like nobody cares.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, they don't care. Now, if you have something like a Trump because that's so polarizing, now that might be more important.
Supersede everything else.
It might be more important just because there's such a drastic, like, social discussion happening on that, like, it's
Right.
becoming overblown.
Right.
But in regular elections,
when
it's
it comes
it's
to
the economy,
policy-wise.
and then it's maybe education, and then it's maybe international politics.
Funny enough, that's almost
That's
exactly
it.
that's like almost exactly how the polls rang out for the Virginian gubernatorial race. It was like, all right, like
That's why I
really
wasn't
care
surprised when he won it,
Yeah.
when it went all Republican.
Yeah, no, it's just like, all right, let's. You guys are in power. You're not
It's like
doing.
they don't have anything intelligent to say about education.
They didn't even like
Economically,
the whole,
nothing has changed in the last like decade from what they've been talking about.
They're trying to ride the wave of the
Anti-Trump
fear-
thing.
Yeah.
Because it worked so well with them being so anti-Trump that then
Yeah.
they think that they can just apply this to other people, and it's like
Yeah.
Youngkin isn't Trump.
Yeah.
Just like DeSantis.
DeSantis. Yeah.
DeSantis. He's not Trump. Now,
Yeah.
he's more vocal,
Yeah.
but he's not Trump. Like he has a state
Yeah,
that did very well during the pandemic. There's
Yeah,
not a lot of
makes his own
issues.
decisions,
He doesn't have a lot of
independent the
drama
national
where
agenda.
where he was like
Yeah.
hiding tens of thousands of people dying like they did in New York.
Who was that guy?
Oh, it's okay. He just sexually assaulted a handful of women and it's fine now.
Oh, well, at least we got the praise that he deserved,
The book he wrote.
Oh boy.
Okay. So like DeSantis, like if you come at him in the way that they come at Trump,
Yeah.
it's not
It's not the same, man. Yeah.
well, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, they try to oversimplify everything, but it's crazy because even after the election, instead of being like, all right, now let's get to the issue, let's get to the policy, let's talk about this thing, or like a graceful defeat, and like, all right, let's move forward, and like, let's make sure, let's see if Youngkin could do this or that. Like, no, it was just like hardcore, like, oh, it's because everyone's so racist. It's
because they polarized the parties.
Yeah.
Before it was just like teams.
Yeah.
It was like I like the Yankees, you like the Red Sox. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like that.
But we both love baseball. Here we go.
It was
Let's go to
it was
the
it
stadium,
was a
let's
team
buy some
thing.
beers.
Now it's a whole different ball game. It's
Yeah.
like I can't not if I don't vote Republican, I'm like going to reject every single bit of institution and everything that made this
Right.
country great.
Shoot the free throw and get the touchdown.
So it's like okay, but like, do I like all of the things that the Republicans want to do, and do I like some of the things the Democrats are going to do? But if I vote for the Democrats, I might be
You're
I
betraying the.
well, no, I might be calling for like the destruction of our banking system.
Yeah.
So that might not work.
Yeah. Not a big fan. I like my bank.
It was just like when we were talking about this. I don't know if we even mentioned this on the podcast, but like, remember, I know I was telling you this. They were trying to potentially set up a committee that would oversight, like a critical race committee that would oversight local elections. We talked about this at some point.
Yeah.
So it'd be like that. It'd be like if they were trying to propose that, the Democrats, to my knowledge, they're not. But
No.
if they were, I could never vote Democrat ever.
Yeah. That's that.
I would literally
that would be
could
a line
never
in the
vote.
sand.
It's like, wait, you want to have oversight committees for local elections? I can never vote for that party.
Yeah. That's gonna be rough.
I would never be able to, like, as long as that I even like heard an inkling of that. I would always have to vote Republican just out of the fear of what that would lead to.
Right. I mean that's it's like what you call it? Autocracies are not made overnight. Like that kind of philosophy where you're just like, oh well, like I trust the system to function the way that it's supposed to. You're supposed to vote this way. You're supposed to understand things the best you can and do what your conscience thinks is right. But then like you're gonna turn around and be like, oh well, you don't know any better, so I'm gonna make sure and look over your shoulder and make sure that you know you do what's right. And it's like, whoa. I mean, it's
That's why everybody's moving to Florida and Texas.
yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, they're just like, I'm done with that. They're like, let me just a little bit more sunshine, a little cheaper housing, and a little less taxes, and a lot less fuckery.
Let's just hope Texas doesn't get fucked.
That'll be interesting because they have a lot of people moving in from.
But I think people are assuming that Democrats are moving into Texas.
Mm,
You know what I mean? There's
That's a
like
good
genuine.
point.
There's the general consensus is it's that, but it could be moderates and Republicans who are just like tired
That's
of
true.
living in that state and like, well, I'll just go to Texas.
And also, like a lot of people who, I think, even if there are Democrats moving into Texas, I'm sure that they're looking at, okay, well, this is where these extreme policies got us to.
No,
To
yeah.
the, I like to believe.
I
that
always
there's some
shut you
people-
down.
I like to be optimistic. I like to think that there's someone out there, some people out there, majority
Do you
out
really
there, that are
think-
just like
They're moving or going.
they're moving across the country to be like, all right,
No,
well,
it's not across the country. It's like 7 hours.
is it? I thought
They're just going down.
my concept of the United States is not as girthy as I thought it was.
Well, it depends on what part,
What
of Texas
you're
they're
going to? That's a big ass state. Yeah, that's true. What is midway?
Because
between-
Austin, I think, is in the midway point and on the low end, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I think.
most of, I think all of Texas is south of, not all of Texas, south of California. California is kind of a big state north to south. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, geography lesson failed.
No, no, it's diagonal. They're just moving down a bit.
Yeah.
They're maybe moving over one
Yeah, 'cause
time
you got,
zone.
You got the Four Corners over here. You got California. Yeah, I guess that's
They're
it.
they're only
Yeah,
lo-
it's
they're
just
only
Four Corners
losing.
and Oklahoma
They're only
right there.
moving like an
Is it
hour or
one?
two.
Yeah, it's only. Okay. Yeah.
It's not that big of a jump.
Yeah. Trying to think. Yeah, because from here to
From here to Texas, it's like 14 hours or something
Yeah.
like that. Or if you go to like Dallas, it's like
Oh damn no.
well, flying
I think-
it's like
I think
4
it's-
hours.
yeah, I
but if
think
you
it's-
drive to Texas, it's like 14 hours. It's like
It-
half a day straight.
It might be even more because I think down to Florida is like 14 hours. No, down to Daytona is like 12 hours from here. Down to
Or maybe it's 18.
yeah, because I know Louisiana. I think it's like 17
Whatever.
hours.
It's
And-
considerably longer
yeah, from
from
here
us-
to there versus
from
the
us
West
to
Coast.
Texas than from them to Texas.
Okay.
Because they only have Arizona, New Mexico,
Yeah, the Four Corners.
and that's it.
yeah.
It's California straight down, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. It's right there. So like
Okay. Yeah.
maybe hotter climate, but it's
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah. No,
relatively-
I follow. No,
depending
I
where
hear
you're
what
from.
saying.
It's like the same gist.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
And then if they're moving to Austin or Dallas, they're getting the same vibe that they might in the.
Yeah, you're in the city, a lot more people, a little bit more diverse. So I mean, yeah, I think. But when people move down there, they're gonna interact with people who, like, if you're living in California, you're only interacting with majority of. You're not
White people.
getting a diverse mindset. Whereas like if you go down to Austin, you're just like you're gonna get hit with all kind of levels of diversity that you've never been exposed to. Like you know, like oh, I heard about this, but I never experienced this. Like whoa, the diversity of thought and the ways of people live and just
I don't
like
know if it's that
thinking-
diverse.
well, I mean,
I think they like to. I
compared
think they like to gloat.
I guess, but like if I'm thinking about like good Mexican food, I'm thinking Texas. Well, I'm thinking about like, I mean they have like anime playing some of the movie theaters like and like versus California. It's like what's in California like you're just Sarasota and like nice weather and people like high earning like jobs like it's impossible to live there and make shit like I mean you could but like you're not gonna welcome to Skid Row you know what I mean like. From what I understand, again, California is a big place, but I'd imagine the people moving out of California are just like in some way dissatisfied with something that's going on.
It's the taxes.
Yeah, so they just moved down to
It's,
Texas.
it's the taxes. Jesus, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
Holy
good.
crap! It's the taxes and the and what they're doing with the taxes.
Yeah. Especially
The problem is the taxes are high, and then their homelessness is getting worse. So it's like,
yeah.
why am I going to pay?
Your 6-figure salary to not solve the
Why am
problem.
I going to pay $30,000 of taxes a year just so I can have to avoid heroin addicts living in tents outside my apartment or
Yeah.
my townhouse or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Like I could be murdered and stabbed,
Yeah.
and I'm paying $30,000 a year or $100,000 a year or millions of dollars a year. I can't go to eat because there's like there was a stabbing last week, and I'm unsure of what's going to be around there.
Not a big fan.
Yeah, so that's the problem. If their taxes were high, but it was like a solid state and like everything was being taken care of, they probably wouldn't have left. But it's because there's just so much bullshit that's going on.
Yeah.
Then they handled the pandemic horribly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe they'll be a little bit more tempered when they go to Texas and have a little different experiences and just like, all right, like I'm willing to like do what's best for me for these reasons. Like I don't want it to devolve into that. And we'll see what happens. But I'm optimistic about it. I think we will be able to look at things like, all right, well, I'm not a fan of that, so I'm not gonna come over here and try to change this into that. Like maybe some people would like carry on with some of their principles, and they're like big on this, and like they're more
well, you'll know on
sympathetic
the midterms.
Towards. Yeah, that's true.
When the midterms happen, you'll know.
Yeah. But like I could see that they're like more sympathetic towards like populations of people who aren't well represented or have a solid voice. Like I could see that happening, but that's more of a measured response as opposed to like just coming in and like I'm gonna come into this house and just completely change up everything about it. So let's see, man. Hopefully they don't have that weird hierarchy. I think, that's the make it or break it. That's the because the hierarchy isn't sensible. It's sensible. Like it's not. It's nonsensical. Like I don't understand the.
That's why
it's
nobody
hard
cares
to
about the
follow
Jews
the logic.
anymore.
Yeah. Like oh, you guys have. Oh, you're good.
Yeah. Your white skin's caught up, hasn't it?
Your white privilege is like my grandfather was killed for being. Shut up, Whitey.
No, he was actually kept in a cage.
No, oppression looks this way.
And then they starved him to death for 2 years, and then put him in a gas chamber and killed him.
Yeah. Oh man. 2 out of 3 people that he knew died because of. Shut up.
Maybe he should have left.
Pussy. Hold your breath. Oh fuck. I'm cutting that. Hold your breath in the gas chamber. What's wrong? Get Magneto to help.
You know what's a funny thing? Do you know who Andy Ngo is?
No.
He's this like gay Korean.
Oh.
Who's a news reporter out in Oregon.
Okay.
Who's covering a lot of the Antifa.
Oh boy.
And because of that, he's getting like attacked constantly or like death threats.
Oh shit.
But there was a viral video. There was this is like maybe 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago, because I think it was during the riots in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this Asian guy in like a regular suit, like nothing crazy.
Okay.
And he's walking. I think he has a mask.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. Maybe he doesn't have a mask, but whatever. Right. So these people with the camera start saying like, "Fuck you, Andy Ngo."
Oh boy.
He's just an Asian guy. He's not Andy Ngo.
Oh.
He's just another like Korean.
Oh, boy.
He comes up and he walks up to the camera and he's like, what the fuck? I think they were live streaming it. That's why it got viral. I don't think they uploaded that. I think they might have been live streaming.
This is good. Yeah.
So he comes up and he says, I'm not fucking Andy Ngo. Like, why do you keep calling me Andy Ngo? It's like, I think one of them said, well, you look like him. And to their credit, he did look similar to Andy Ngo. But he wasn't Andy Ngo.
Yeah.
Like, I could see from the video that it wasn't Andy Ngo, but whatever.
Yeah.
So he says, you're like the 4th person that's done that to me today. Like, and he's like, fucking stop. And then somebody in the background you hear, yeah, it's almost like he's trying to do it on purpose. And then someone in the comments quotes it and says, "You mean just be Asian?"
Jesus. Your crime is.
You had slanted eyes. He just got famous because he got like pepper sprayed and they threw like a milkshake. But that was when there was rumored that they were putting cement in the milkshakes. And then people don't understand what that means. Like they're putting quick dry cement and water in the cup and then they're throwing it at people.
Oh my god.
But because they're calling it like a quick a cement milkshake, people think that they're putting cement mix into dairy.
Yeah,
into
like, consumables.
And they're like, oh, you can't do that, and da da da. And then like, I'm like, oh, you people are so fucking dumb.
Oh, that's because they never work with their hands. Like they don't know what easy dry those mixes. It's like,
No. They're not understanding that it's a phrase.
Yeah.
They're literalizing.
Yeah.
It'd be like a Molotov cocktail. You can't drink that.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's alcohol and then a rag like dipped in kerosene. Like you're not supposed to drink it.
Yeah.
You fucking idiots.
But it's alcohol, right?
It's a mess. It's a weapon.
Everything's drinkable.
Like they did. Like people like didn't understand that like they were just putting water with the quick dry cement and then would throw it at somebody.
Yeah.
They didn't understand. Like they weren't trying to put cement mix in like a half-drinking milkshake.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, people draw all kind of conclusions based off of who they trust. So it's like, yeah, you trust this person, this news source. You're just like, oh,
and he's an
everything
immigrant.
they say it's gospel.
And that guy's like an immigrant. He's
Yeah.
like an immigrant, thick Korean accent, and he's a homosexual.
Yeah, solid, ticking all the boxes.
I know, he's like the most persecuted person in like the city of Portland.
I know. Oh man, that sucks. I think I saw something about him. I think I saw
He's
a
always
clip of Joe Rogan talking to him.
he was on Rogan.
Yeah, because like I didn't know who this guy was, and he's like, oh, explain a little bit about.
I think he also got like punched in the face or something like
That's what
that.
I
He
saw,
got like
yeah.
pepper sprayed through a milkshake at him. I think somebody hit him like in the head with a crowbar, and that like busted him open
God
up top.
damn it! Oh, wow.
It's like it was a viral video like 3 years ago or something like that, and he just got the
Jesus
shit
Christ,
kicked
yeah.
out of him by like a group of obviously white people
Jesus.
with all black clothes because that's what Antifa is.
Oh,
Just white
God.
people indiscriminately beating other people.
Gotta be anti-fascist, so I gotta come out here and
Don't
beat
wear a
everyone that
black
looks
polo with like
anti-
orange or yellow hemming.
Oh my god.
They'll think you're a proud boy.
I wonder how that interaction. Oh, so you proud, huh? Yeah, I am proud. Yeah, I'm black and I'm. Oh, what the fuck, man?
Go.
I answered that question wrong. Oh shit! All the weird norms that you have to.
I thought I was doing the right thing.
Oh, weird norms you have to accommodate to now, man. and yeah, I looked at the what's his face's show, the God's Honest Truth, because I'm like, all right, like I'm kind of curious. Let me see.
What's this?
The God's Honest Truth, Charlemagne, like talking about people like following people that they trust.
So-
It's just like
Which one were you? What was this episode about?
the last one, the poly.
Oh, you said you okay.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I lied. I said, oh yeah, I'm not gonna watch it, and I was like, you know what, I'm kind of curious. Let me check it out.
I told you the girl.
Yeah.
As soon as you saw her, you're like, I know all.
Yeah.
I know every opinion you have.
Yeah. So I wasn't blown away from her. I was just like, oh, I wonder what she's gonna say
Was
about
my
this.
description accurate?
Yeah, very accurate, man. I was dumbfounded how accurate that was. I was like, holy
I
shit.
told my girl we were watching it. I was like, I'll bet you $10 that he's smashing her out, waiting for something else to come along.
Oh shit. Yeah, man. It's so weird because, well, like at least at the beginning part, he was talking about, because he was asking her. He was like, "Oh, is monogamy okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, 100%, it's good." Da-da-da. But you know, poly is a way to go. And he's like, "All right," and he's kind of like they're dancing around these questions, and
Eric Dyson was.
yeah,
He
was really damn. Like I see what you're saying with him. Like
Because he
really,
wants to be that far left guy.
Yeah.
But he also, I guess for whatever reason, couldn't compel himself to fully accept that.
Yeah.
And like some type of integrity came out in him where he was like, well, let me...
Well, like I noticed that he was like trying to rebut it in a very, very like soft
Vague
touched
way.
way. Yeah. So like you could tell that he wasn't he wasn't
He
for
wasn't-
it because
He
like
wasn't
if he
recanting
was
it, but he kept emphasizing, well, as long as the home structure is good.
right, exactly.
And I'm like,
So
just
it's
go
like,
ahead and say it. You can't do it. Like,
yeah, because like I've heard him speak before. I'm like, that doesn't sound like I've heard him like, oh, that
he's usually
like,
more confident.
Yeah, he's a lot more like hard pressed and urgent about like this
And
is
then
what
this
we
was
need to do versus what we
also
don't
she
need
was
to
a
do.
young black woman.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
light skin had something to do with it. Don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah, it is. But no, I think it's like he has a book coming out and he doesn't want to ruffle too many feathers and he's trying to like, oh, maybe appeal to her audience too. It's like, yeah, this is important. And she has
It can't work. And then what you're saying, like, I mean, we already kind of went through this, but
Yeah.
like it's like a patriarchal type thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because
we already
we already
eradicated
five
that
guys. If you're
stupid-
dating 5 guys and you get pregnant, like the 4 other people aren't going to sit around and raise your kid.
Yeah. Like I don't know what the expectation is, but it's fun.
It's, like, yeah, it's all fun and games when like we're all just smashing you out.
Right, and it's funny because I'm just like, oh wow, like I wonder.
You're an
how-
attractive woman and I'm banging you. Great. I
Yeah.
can still look for something on the side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like how.
That's
how
all it is.
down
It's a
the-
friends with benefits with a mutual
Yeah, a
agreement that
circle
I
of
can
friends
go
with benefits.
sleep with other
Yeah.
people.
And it's funny because she mentions in the thing when he's just like, oh well, like you're in a relationship, you're married, but you're
She
in an
was
open.
married?
Yeah, she's married,
Oh, I forgot that she was married.
but she's in an open relationship, so it's like or polyamorous
Well,
relationship.
why
so she's just
why did you
hopping
get
around.
married?
I don't understand. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's like I think she wanted that stability. She wanted that stability with that person, but she also wanted the freedom to be able to get blast.
Shut the fuck
But at least she's honest about it.
But she
up front.
wasn't.
Oh, she wasn't? Like with her I'm talking
Wasn't
about
honest?
with her significant other. I'm talking about like maybe with her
Yeah, but I don't want to ever meet that man.
I have some questions. But But she also said that like, oh well, like I'm comfortable with this, but maybe it's because the kind of guy that I'm with, like, cause like if he was out doing all kind of other stuff, like, maybe I'll feel a little different about it. And I was like, wait, so like there's a number, like, are you saying like there's a number amount that like like you don't want your guy to be
I
sleeping
think
around too much, but
she's probably been hurt by other dudes
yeah,
that were
yeah. So like
putting in work,
Just
putting in slight work,
slanging that
slight work.
big old tip. But I think I was trying to understand her philosophy, and it was kind of different.
Oh,
but
why are you trying to? It was so flaky.
I know, but it's just like I'm trying to bring.
You should not. That's gonna make you dumber. If you start focusing and listening to people who have no substance in their shit, it's just gonna make it worse for you.
Well, like, let me dice it up. Like,
That's when I need to play that clip.
yeah,
That
no problem. What's his face from Billy Madison?
We are all now dumber for having listened to you speak.
In no part of your incoherent rambling.
Did you make any type of point
But
or even attempt a coherent thought?
it was incredible, yo. That's so pertinent today. Oh, but for like, let me dive into Charlemagne first. First, I like, cause I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know if I want to say like he has a lot of feminine energy. Like I think he's.
I will.
Well, like I think my issue with him is that he's well, like my description of him, like he's a very intelligent shit talker who's like been habituated into saying decisive shit. That's like for whatever reason. He's on the radio. He's talking to these big stars, like trying to elicit some kind of response, or maybe he's naturally like that, and it just happens to be popular. But it just seems like that's who he comes across as, and so it's like it's like bittersweet, where it's like, oh, like I'm surprised he's not a comedian. He says a lot of funny shit, but then and wild takes, but then at the same time, it's like, but he's so close on Tommy Lauren. That's who he was talking about. My introduction to him was when he was he was talking to Tommy Lauren on her show. She was the person on Fox.
She was on his show?
No.
He was on hers.
Yeah, he was on her show.
When she was on Fox.
Yeah, when she was on Fox, and she was railing against Beyonce for like I think she like was accolading the Black Panthers, and
Oh, that.
yeah,
Oh, where she did the Super Bowl.
yeah. So then she had him on, and then they were having a nice conversation.
They've done wonders, haven't they, for the movement? So much has changed.
Oh man.
I mean, do you remember that bill that got put to the floor? I mean, God, Jesus.
No, which one?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh. Oh God.
Absolutely nothing has been done except for that fucking performance. I mean, they probably have given money to
I'm
groups,
sure,
but like
let's be
nothing
honest.
has happened.
I mean, it's like the Wonder Woman thing, man. Everybody's catching it. Like,
Michael Brown died, and guess what? Nothing's changed.
Yeah. They're not like. Maybe they care, but I haven't seen anything to indicate that they care beyond what it brings to them financially. So it's like I think that they're using it as it's a nice lightning rod to pretend like.
What's the difference between like it's caring and then half-ass effort?
Yeah, and it's almost like what I see them
You
doing.
could care about like I mean like you care about like kids being abducted,
Right.
but you're not doing anything to actually help
them.
find these kids that are abducted.
100%. Yeah, that's what it is. So, not that I don't like. Yeah, not that like I don't want to, but it's just like limitations of my like
your time and energy. You just decided that that's something you're not gonna do because if you do it, you're gonna have to do it. Like you can't.
And then I know that's gonna ruin my psyche.
That they would have to stop doing. They would have to stop doing their jobs. And running their empires. To then put full-time energy into doing that.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, I guess
then it just becomes posturing.
Yeah. So I was like, I guess like people could be like, we'll defend them on that scale. Like, oh well, they're musicians. They're not supposed to be doing this, that, and the third. It's like, all right, I understand. Like if they wanted to shout out to this movement.
It's more so other people.
But yeah,
it's more so other people.
It as
I don't give a shit about Beyonce, but when other people like jump up and be like, "Oh my God, it was so great what she did," it's like, what are you?
Yeah. I 100%.
Like it's not like you said this performance is amazing.
Right.
Or like, oh, I love that song. It's like, God, change is coming.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like you can't give it like when Lil Wayne goes.
Just did 8 years of Obama. What the fuck? Nothing changed.
It's like when I was in high school, Lil Wayne was like the he was on everybody's album. He was on everybody's mixtape. He was just doing his thing, and like he kept saying, "Oh, best rapper alive." And I was just like, "Man, you're not in my top 10." Not to deny, like, all right, like you know, you have skills, and you know, he's like producing like crazy, but I'm just like, you're not one of my faves. But like everybody else was like, "Oh man, like yeah, he's the best ever. Oh my God, he's the best."
Well, if he had continued his run, he would have been.
Nah. But that's just me. Like I have a drastically.
If he came out with another 1 to 2 albums where he had like 5 top hits, you'd be singing a different story.
Nah, man. I don't like people jumping on the bandwagon. But that's just me though.
No,
like
if he had 2 more albums that were as hot as that album.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Because then you have a precedence.
Yeah.
Then you have like 7 years of like solid, crazy.
Yeah. I could say like, oh, he's prolific and he's making this money and like the most successful rapper alive, I could say at that point. But like for me personally, it's like just because I like different, like I'm more of a Mos Def, Nas, Tyler Quality, Andre 3000, that kind of. So it's just
like
different,
Drake.
Like he's okay. Like it's just I'm not like I'll listen to him, but I'm just not like.
But he's better than the vast majority.
For sure.
Yeah, but that's my
just
point.
Like, of the current, yeah. So I mean,
like Drake's got like just there's constant. There's this massive catalog.
It is.
Whereas Lil Wayne's catalog is like a 3-year period.
Yeah. But like even with
I was saying if his period was like 10 years.
But like let's say like utilizing that, like if I look at Drake, it's like all right, like he's going on a nice long run. It's like, but still like he's not in my top 10. You know, but that's just because I like subjectively it's not my favorite thing. Like I could say he's one of the most successful rappers alive. I can't say like best because my opinion of best is different from other people's opinion of best. And isn't
best also lyrically and success?
Well, it depends. Like other people measure.
It's like I think it would be a
different
combination
ways.
though.
Yeah, like if you were to say, like you could.
Like,
If
are
someone
you saying
says-
Most Def is in your top 10?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely.
That's,
Yeah, no, like, but it's like I understand if he's
like,
not.
I know
most
what you
people's
mean
top
by
10.
him being in your top 10.
Yeah. Like,
But at the same time, it's like he hasn't done enough like for me to hear.
I hear you. I get it.
But I know lyrically he is very, very, very good.
Yeah. And like the message that he's coming across, and then the impact and his flow, and him as a musician. But it's like, but that's my personal take on it. As like going back to this whole shtick with Charlemagne, it's like, all right, like if he's like or Beyonce, it's like all right, like they're putting out this music, they're doing this thing, It's like, you know, the art speaks for itself, and people like it or not, and they'll use it for different things or not. It's like, but for people to hang on Beyonce's like every word, like, you know, like it's the gospel versus someone's actually doing, or organizations out here actually doing work towards the efforts that you care about. Like, it's crazy because you can't even name one of those people. You can't even name one of those organizations, but you know, Beyonce all day long, and you're thinking Beyonce is the one who's doing all these things. Meanwhile, people are like dedicating their lives to it.
She just put her fist up,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's
and she put it into she inculcated the whole thing into a music video, and like, oh, the dancers are wearing this, and they're like, all right, cool, little homage
like,
to it.
What was that song? Assemble or some shit?
I couldn't tell you which one it was. I don't listen to Beyonce that much.
Or March? It was something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll touch on the music.
What was
thing
that
later,
from?
But,
Didn't somebody get killed?
Might have. It might have been a response to that, but all that, like, when
I'm trying to remember who died.
When but when Tommy Lauren like had a take on that, it's like, all right, from like the very right wing and slamming it and like referred to the Black Panthers as a terrorist organization, and then she brought Charlemagne on because he gave her Donkey of the Day. And it's like, oh, you're like, you said something stupid.
I'm aware of Donkey.
Okay, I just got educated.
Oh, you haven't heard of Donkey of the Day?
Yeah. But
it's an easy concept to figure out.
I when I heard it, I was
You're
like,
the asshole of the day.
I think I know what this is. Egg on my face. Drawing conclusions.
Okay,
but
she was on Donkey of the Day, so then she asked him to come on.
And that exchange, that's my introduction to Charlemagne. So I'm like, whoa, look at this. This guy's super intelligent. Like, he can really, like...
depending on what he's fucking talking about. And then depending on the intelligence of the other person.
Yeah.
Tommy's not that bright.
Yeah.
Tommy's pretty stupid.
Yeah, I think she's just saying, like, these sound bites.
Because she had a viral thing that got just demolished about men.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay, yeah. That was horrific. So she's not too bright herself. So he's smart enough to make her look dumb, but like...
Yeah, but so, like, that was my introduction. I was like, whoa, like, I'm used to smart black men. I'm not used to smart, popular black men, especially, like, I haven't heard about them. Like, whoa.
And then you were...
and then I watched the
then you were a
Breakfast Club,
mistake.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Stupid. Like, I'm brain drained.
He's got people coming on talking about how they don't believe in interracial marriages.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, that's incredible.
And he's talking about how great of a person they are when he brings them on in the intro.
Yeah, fantastic.
I was like, that.
Yeah. You know, there's some stuff we disagree on. I'm not going to say any of those things, supposedly. But not going to have any engaging conversations about any of those things. Just going to ask them questions. And, you know, but meanwhile, like, I'm going to sit over here and decisively say wild shit to people who are a little bit less emotionally stable musicians in order to elicit some kind of response. It's like, all right, like, so he's an intelligent asshole. Like, he's just a divisive person.
Oh, you know what I just thought of?
What's that?
He's a fucking hip hop Kevin Samuels.
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that.
But
yeah,
it's like worse.
He's slamming on.
Yeah, he's just,
how old are you?
He's just slamming on. He's just shitting on like unintelligent dudes from the hood. Who
Yeah. It's like that's fucked up, man. Don't do that. But so I was watching that stuff, and I was just like, all right, cool. So he's talking to Tommy Lauren. So yeah, I was just thinking like, he's just like an intelligent shit talker. why do you say he has a feminine energy? Like, or like when I was expecting to hear something like him like going off the rails, or
there's a difference. There's a difference between like a toxic energy where you're constantly jumping off, yelling,
yeah,
but constantly overreacting emotionally to issues would be feminine energy.
Right, I see that. But
like if 70% of the time you're emotionally reacting to someone's statement, you're acting very feminine. Like, why are you so emotional? Why are you so over? Like, I didn't even come at you. Like, I'm just talking about this. Is like, yeah, but I feel when you say that, da, 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 it's like that's something that like my girlfriend says, not something that like my brother says.
Yeah. Yeah, like for in that dynamic, it's like
that's what I mean by feminine. He's very emotional.
Yeah.
Because you look at other people like, I mean, yeah, I guess Kevin Samuels is a good example, or like a Jordan Peterson or a Rogan or any person that has a major podcast.
I see it. Okay.
They only get angry when it comes to a head.
Like right here, right now, like, and then they'll say something.
Or when it gets to a head, or there's like a buildup of some sort.
Okay.
But if you come at them one way, they immediately got their facts.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give you my facts. We'll go back and forth. Or we've done this for 5 or 10 minutes. I might start to treat you like a piece of shit because you're not listening to me and you're just trying to bulldoze me with your bullshit ideology.
Right,
I've educated myself on this issue. Now I'm going to get mad.
Okay.
Whereas like him, because he doesn't, Charlemagne, because he doesn't half the time know what the fuck he's talking about, or he has some like half-educated thing, it's always an emotional reaction because he doesn't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a sound argument.
Yeah.
Because someone like these guys, they've had they're insane. They're like me. Like I've had conversations, just sit in my bed, like be like, well, what about this? Like, so I've like mapped like if there's like a particular issue that I actually have an opinion on.
Yeah.
It's because I've thought about it. Like,
right.
Okay, well, Robert, what would you say if I said this? And then I'm thinking like, oh, well, he might say that. You know what? That might actually be better. And so I'm like already like, by the time I get in front of somebody arguing that point, I've already
fleshed it out.
I put it through the rigor a little bit of time so that I'm ready to deal with it.
Right.
I might not even be right.
Right.
But I at least have a foundation that is solid.
Speak on it. Yeah. So I haven't watched enough Charlemagne to really see. I just know like my expectations.
He doesn't yell.
Okay.
He's not like I don't think he over emotionally screams at people.
Yeah.
But he like it's usually an emotional. It's usually like I might be completely wrong, but in my head I'm thinking like it's usually like those things where it's like, oh, I feel and I think, and it's never like I know.
I follow.
Just like when just like
as opposed to challenging somebody's opinion with or what they're saying, dialogue with facts, which is what he did with the Tommy Lauren thing. And admittedly, I haven't watched.
See, the thing is, he probably went into that situation with a solid foundation.
Right,
so you saw him on
in
top of his game.
Yeah, so I'm over here looking at him thinking that he's at this level. So then when I see
that's why he does get popular
else,
because he is in positions where he's on top, and he's the guy who has it all on his side. He knows it. He's confident. He can go to the bag and pull out the facts and pull out his arguments and this. But when he doesn't, it's
It's like I saw him just recently on cause I was looking up stuff on I can't watch the Breakfast Club, but I watched he has this interview with Trevor Noah about the show, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, but like he said some stuff that I'm just like I'm like that like I could tell are like fleshed out thoughts, but it wasn't Charlemagne, but it wasn't it's coming from a place of not, I don't want to say ignorance because it sounds mean, but like he was saying, like they were talking about when he had the somebody from Joe Biden's camp on, and he's like, yeah, well, Democrats aren't doing enough, and Trevor Noah's like, oh, like what kind of stuff should they be doing that they're not doing that they could, and he's like, oh, they could pack the courts and they could filibuster or get rid of the filibuster and hold people from January 6th responsible, and So it's like, all right, so like he has an answer to those questions. But when I think about what he said, it's just like, what? And Trevor Noah is like, oh, some people might argue in a very tactful way. Some people might argue that, like, oh, well, if the pendulum is in your favor now, but like when the pendulum swings in the other direction, then
it's gonna be that much more extreme.
Yeah.
Oh, you packed the courts?
Yeah, we're gonna pack it also. We're gonna follow your precedents.
And we're gonna fuck you.
Yeah. And then he's like, and Charlamagne's like, oh, well, if you do what you're supposed to do anyway, like if you take care of the people, then it wouldn't matter because you just keep on winning. And I was like,
it's a very ignorant way to look at it.
Yeah. Like I'm trying not to say ignorant, but it's just
it's
like,
he's ignorant.
Yeah. Like
you could say
it's
he's ignorant.
like it's just.
Have you seen how many people have been arrested and charged from January 6th?
It's crazy.
They're being held responsible. It's just not. There's just no reason for that to be front page news.
Doing this thing, yeah. If people keep on talking about it, and then like
they're still arresting people.
Yeah. I don't understand it because it's like, and it's like that's my danger. I think
one guy got like 2 years.
God. Yeah, the real danger with
because he like broke a window or something like that. And he got like 2 years.
Yeah, nice little scapegoat. Like, all right, there we go, got him. You got him.
No, I mean there's a ton of anybody who like definitively like did something
that was against the law.
The dude sitting on Pelosi's desk.
Right, yeah. We got you on camera. We know your information. Like, all right, we're gonna prosecute
the bullhorn guy. He's done. Like anybody that was like, some of the people that were millowing in and just like observing and then like leaving. I don't think they're necessarily getting charged per se.
Yeah.
But certainly anybody who
did anything definitively against the law, like, oh, this is vandalism.
Like breaking through a door or something like that. Like
right.
They're on camera. They've found them. They've been, at least served papers of some sort or arrested. Like it's happened.
Yeah, man. I just it's just kind of crazy. That's like I don't understand.
Just like there are people who get arrested in these riots.
Yeah.
Depending on the city, like.
Right.
200 people are looting liquor stores and shit like that. Like there's a handful of people who probably have been arrested for it.
Yeah.
Depending on your city. I could assume.
Yeah. No.
Like, they have security cameras. Like they can look.
Right. So when he's like, so my big problem with him, like I don't know about like I don't think I follow him enough to be like, oh, whether he's doing this via logic or emotions or whatnot. But I could say that like, oh well, he's like, I see him at this level, and I'm sure a lot of people see him at this high stature, and then he'll say something like that, and it's just like, all right, that kind of like flies in the face of
just like
what's actually going on.
When I told you that he said you could easily shoot somebody in the leg.
Yeah.
That's somebody who is so confidently unintelligent about anything that has to do with firearms.
Were you the one telling me about the like? Oh well, like the guy's a marksman, but like.
Well, DJ Envy said that he was just listing like what they knew about him.
Yeah.
And one of the things they said was he is a marksman, which is just a badge signification of your qualifications during basic.
Yeah.
It's marksman, sharpshooter, and then expert.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the reverse. It might be sharpshooter, expert, or marksman, expert, sharpshooter. Okay. I forget if that.
But either way, marksman is at like the bottom tier.
Bare minimum qualifications for your.
You could shoot in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit more.
And even then, it's a qualification within rifles.
Yeah.
It's not handguns.
Yeah.
And handguns are a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
Because the further distance, the less accurate they are. Because it's predicated, like, there's so much degree. Like, I mean, I've fired a number of firearms. So, like, a rifle, you can't miss. Like, it's almost impossible to miss if you're, like, 5 feet away from something.
Okay.
Just because of how it's aimed and the way, because of, I believe it's the length of barrel and how the bullet has to travel through it. Okay. It takes it longer to go off its flight pattern. Okay. Whereas a pistol, especially most automatic pistols, there's like no barrel. Yeah. Like it's so all like, the receivers attached to the barrel, and it's there for like a few inches, and it's just.
So if you can't hold your hand still with the recoil, then it's like it might.
Well, it doesnn't matter. Like if I slightly aim it left and it goes off, I can miss a target that's 5 feet in front. Right. Whereas as a rifle, for you to miss a target 5 feet away from you, you would have to like aim it away from the target.
Also, if you shoot, even if you are successful and able to shoot people accurately in the leg, that doesn't take away any capacity that they have to use their hands. So if they're carrying something weapon in their hands,
But it's also incredibly dangerous because
Right.
if you miss, you deal with the ricochet.
Right.
And then if that bullet splits, you can have two different flight patterns, which then could hit two different people.
right. But I'm just saying, like even per his
You could
logic,
kill multiple people with
Yeah.
a missed shot into into concrete. Like
but I'm trying to say, like even with his, even if he's 100% right, and even if someone had the capacity to do
to
that,
easily do
and
that.
they're able to hit the mark every time, hit the leg all the time. Someone who's holding a gun, you hit their leg, it's like yeah, they're not going anywhere unless they have like Rambo levels of endurance.
One of your
but,
biggest arteries is in your leg.
yeah, so you can nick it, but at the same time, it's still a death sentence.
That's literally how Sean Taylor died. He got
Yeah.
shot in the thigh,
And then like
and he just bled out within like a couple minutes.
yeah, still a problem, man. And it's like, and
It
the
would
person
probably
can
be
still-
better if somebody shot Sean Taylor in the chest
yeah,
than shooting him in the leg.
Ugh. Solid points, man. Oh yeah, but yeah, with the whole packing the courts and the filibusters, like I mean, and like he's making an assumption of like, oh yeah, well if you do the right thing, you're gonna always win, and it's just like like he's assuming that one side is correct and then the other side's not, and it's like and like if you look at the most staunchest advocates for whatever political party or whatever political candidate, it's like you find it in like the campaigners, like the people who are like running the races every 2 years, like out there making those phone calls and emails and writing the letters and all that shit. Like they really care and really devoted to this. And if you ask them, like, hey, would it be better if the entirety of the federal government was run by your party or people like your person? And that you would probably get one or two answers. Either they're gonna be like, absolutely. But if they're 100% honest with themselves, though, and willing to be honest with you, and I've asked somebody this before because I was kind of curious, and they were just like, well, it's good to have a system that keeps you honest, and like you're voting, like you're doing all this work because you believe in this person and their message and what they're doing, and you think that they have what it takes to be able to handle whatever unforeseen future events or circumstances are. Like you can't know that short of having a crystal ball. You don't know. So like you find somebody who you really appreciate, really like, could really willing to have all these sleepless nights and do all this work for, and then you go for that. It's like, but you don't. There's no way of knowing whether you're being completely honest. And if you only have people who look at things the way that you do, then there's no mechanism in place, especially in government and politics, to keep
You're
you
not
honest.
in a good spot.
Yeah. So it's like,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
yeah. So if you're just like, if one side just keeps on winning, like per that logic, and it's like that's not a good fit. And it's not just this random campaigner who said that. I mean, it's even in the Federalist Papers, like Hamilton or Madison or whoever the fuck wrote the papers. It's like they were talking about like not making it a dictatorship of numbers. They didn't want it to be a monarchy. But they also didn't. They want to, have the federal power consolidated too much.
Well, the problem is that they lived back in a time where you had more personal responsibility of yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, George Washington does his term, and then he says, "Okay,
Yeah.
I helped. I did it. I'm the
Yeah.
first one. I'm gonna go away
Yeah.
and never be in politics again,
Yeah.
and just do. I mean, maybe he goes to functions."
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm assuming he might go to a function, like just to say hello. Oh, we're having someone's birthday party.
Yeah.
Washington, come! Like it might be something like that. But like he's not.
He was not a fan, man.
Lincoln did the same thing
Okay.
because that's what they would do. They would do their 4 years, or
time,
maybe they would
8.
try and do a second,
Yeah.
and then when they would leave, they would just go away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I'm on public enemy. That's not my job. Like now it's somebody else's job. That's what it is. Yeah, man. 100%. So it's just like it's kind of crazy for to just assume like, oh, like to be like one side of the political aisle is right all the time on all things, present and future, is pretty, didn't want to say ignorant, but I'm finding it hard pressed to find another word to describe maybe he's a future teller. Maybe he has a crystal ball we don't know about. But at the very least, I find him entertaining. He's capable of incredible dialogue. It's just unfortunate that I feel like I think his intelligence is going to waste or not being utilized optimally, or at least people aren't looking at it from okay, like I see he's saying this, but all right, well, let me take a more tempered approach because what he's saying isn't 100% factual. So it's just super unfortunate. Not about him personally, but it's just that because I don't think he recognizes the damage, the effect that what he says and how he says it has on everybody. Like I mean, it's hard to be able to see all that, but I don't think he knows how far from hitting the mark he is versus not.
Well, he gets a lot of positive reinforcement, so
Yeah.
That's gonna make it difficult for anybody to change who they are if they're already successful.
Right. Like, who are you? Who are you? Like, this no-name podcaster with 5 subscribers telling me what's right politically.
Bitch ass motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, he had some funny... At that episode, he had some funny clips, man. He was he was talking about, like, oh, you have a girl riding the D train all the way to the meat suite. And it's like, oh, shit. The meat suite? Yeah. Oh, man. But, yeah, that's my take on him. So, I wanted to dive into, like, a little bit more about the conversation and then Dyson in particular. And, he is a minister. He's a Baptist minister, so okay.
That would explain
that makes sense. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought he was just a professor.
I had no idea. Yeah, I thought that I only knew him as a professor, but yeah, I did some stuff, some research, and I was like, oh yeah, he's been a minister for a while. So I was like, oh okay, I get it. But yeah, man, we'll probably touch on that a little bit later. So I don't want to dive on that, but. Next week's episode, plus whatever the fuck else is going on, and yeah, we'll go from there. Oh fuck! Now exit.
We'll come up with a good outro.
Yeah. Oh. Divine thoughts from stupid people.
We could just say it in different languages. Au revoir.
Bonjour. No.
That's hello.
Yeah, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. I just bonjour is hello and all that shit. French talk.
Au revoir is goodbye.
Oh, wait, is that French? Oh, I'm an incredible shit talker. I thought bonjour was hello and goodbye.
No. Au revoir is like, I'll see you later.
That does sound, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I'm an asshole. All right.
Bonjour is
Oh, you know what? I think it's
Italian.
No, buongiorno is Italian.
Buongiorno.
But bonjour is like
Bonjour.
I think it's good. I think maybe it's like hello for morning and at nighttime. I don't know if there's a difference between the two.
Bonsoir? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm just super racist and I think everybody's Andrew no. Tony, no. Look at me. I don't fucking remember his name. Andy, no. Just
Tony, no.
Interchanging any Asian sounding English name. Oh, next on racism are us.